We live. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. I hope you're doing well and safe. Good afternoon to those of you in the UK. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, appropriate's in it. I'm here with a good friend, a good mate. He's got, he's a clean-hearted guy and all and stuff like that. He supports a terrible football team. I can't really say that. I got to get in early doors, man. Matisse, we say.
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Do you know what I'm saying? It's rivalries come together to bash Tottenham and whatnot. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to agree on something. And man, big wins for us over the weekend. Do you know what I'm saying? So everybody should be all smiles.
We're staying up, man. We're staying up. Who knows, man? We might qualify for the Conference League, broski. We're on stuff this year. It's mad. We're getting linked with Kamavinga and all of that nonsense, people, man. This is what we've got to do, man. We've just got to live in dream world. But yeah, man. Obviously, you won at the weekend. Obviously, we tend to on a Monday speak about football in general. What are you saying in relation to that game? Because watching it, as a neutral, again, the Champions League is something else between these two teams and these two managers. But semi-finals in the FA Cup, this game at the weekend, yes, players were rotated and things. But if I look at it, Tuchel's 2 up, he's 2-0 up and things like that. He's had it. The big thing for me is defensively, like he's clocked. It's like, Pep, you can do what you want. But there's too much jigsaws in places. Like there's no space for you. And people can say Chelsea were lucky, they nicked it. City didn't take their chance. Aguero's poor penalty, but I think Chelsea were good in my opinion. What do you say?
Yeah, man, I think it was really good. I always give my team credit. Do you know what I'm saying? When they get the win, a lot of people make excuses. Pep decided to put the team that he put out. That was meant to be their day to wrap up the title, and for some reason they didn't take it seriously. They played with no central midfielders other than Rodri. So you kind of left Rodri out to dry, which, hung him out to dry, which made no sense to me. You had Sterling and Torres taking up positions in the half spaces behind two strikers and then two wing backs in Mendy and Cancelo as well. So it was very confusing to me. From the moment I saw Mendy in the team, I thought to myself, Reece James can get
social media manager, innit?
Yeah, man, like Mendy, they got the wrong Mendy. Do you know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. They should have got the one from Real Madrid. He's very suspect. He's very suspect. And from the moment I saw him, I said, let's eat. Chelsea made a lot of individual errors. Christensen for the goal as well. For Sterling's tapping. Aguero was awful. The penalty was shocking. Missed the ball as well for Sterling's tapping as well. So I don't know what he was on today, trying that Panenka and everything. And but big win. Do you know what I'm saying? It's big win. That basically nearly puts us in the top 4. So I can't be happy. We just need to smoke you, man, now Wednesday. Do you know what I'm saying?
Be careful. There's no pressure on us apart from it being a big game. We're Barcelona of no pressure. We really are Pressure FC. You might see some nobodies turn up in that game. Who knows, man? Martinelli might sit down that certain midfielder on his arse again. I heard he's been playing all right in the Champions League. He knows what time it is when he plays the real stars. Boy, I have to get out, man. Well, let me ask you this as well, yeah. Before I ask of the positives for Thomas Tuchel, because I've got a lot of positives. We be talking about it on Rancy's channel and things, but is there any, as an Arsenal fan or as someone that's looking at it from a cerebral thing, obviously Chelsea have lost games with Thomas Tuchel. They've been few, but there has been negative results and draws and things. So there is a way to play. Personally, I feel as much as I praise you, you do give half chances to the opposition if I had to scrutinize it, as well as you do defend, Rudiger especially recently. And you're not necessarily the most clinical team or as clinical as you can be at this moment in time. There are 2 criticisms if I really had to push it. What weaknesses are there from a Tuchel point of view? Or Fitz, you say, all right, cool, everything's going well right now, but we need to kind of do something in that regards long term.
Long term, it's just going to be about, can we have a backup plan to this formation? And obviously pre-season you're going to want to see if he's got anything else up his sleeve in terms of systems and whatnot. But right now there really is not much to critique him on, because in terms of the finishing, that goes down to the strikers. We've created the most chances in the league since he's arrived. So for me, once you're creating big chances, that falls on the strikers. And then defensively, we aren't conceding many shots, to be honest. That Man City game, there was a lot of individual errors that needs to be accounted for. Christensen for that, allowing Jesus to just shrug you off was just madness. Defensively, I can't really give him too many critiques, because we've managed to turn Rudiger, who for me isn't world class, Christensen, who isn't world class. These are good defenders, but then they wouldn't be of that world class.
Getting the tune out of them.
Yeah, he's getting the tune out of them. So I can't really. I know it sounds mad, but I can't force it. There's not really much to critique. The defeat against West Brom, from a concentration standpoint in the first half, we were absolutely shocking in that defeat. And outside of that, we haven't lost any games. Everything else has just been been plain sailing. I think the only thing that's been frustrating is dropping points against the likes of Leeds, Southampton, Brighton, and that's again where I'd hope for that second system or that plan B when you need a goal and the team is struggling to put away chances. Can you bring on a Tammy? Can you bring on an Abraham and change your game plan a little bit? But some of these managers, they actually believe in the opposite. Stick to what you're doing, like Pep does. Continue to play the same way, and you will find a way. And that's how the most successful managers have been in European football. So there's not really much to argue with that mindset. So yeah, it's one of them things where I think he'll have challenges ahead, but this season, where he's just come in and had to look at strengths, look at weaknesses, get a system, know your team, get results. It's playing into his hands very well. And the difference with him and this PSG team when he was at previously last year is he's got players that want to listen, players that want to follow instruction. He hasn't got big
prima donnas.
There's nobody in this squad that can talk to him. Like, there really isn't. Do you know what I'm saying? Thiago Silva is a keen listener and he's a leader anyway. He's not going to be the issue. And outside that, Kante, again, another humble guy, always going to take instruction. There's nobody else who's going to, there's no Neymar, there's no Mbappe, there's nobody fighting over penalties. It's not going to happen in this squad. Nobody can talk to him. And you know what I mean? Like, Ziyech, what have you won? You know what I'm saying? Outside of Holland. Werner, what have you won? Kai, what have you won? No one can talk to him.
You ain't got the clout to really talk.
No one's got the clout. It's very similar to the Chelsea team when Jose Mourinho took over in 2005. He walked in and said, what have you won? Nothing. Cool, then shut up and listen. It's very simple. From the moment you have that as a manager and you are the most important person in the building, you can't go wrong unless you don't know what you're doing. Pep, Klopp, same rule applies. So that's the way forward in football for me. And Tuchel's deciding the season, so there's not really much to critique him on. And long may it continue. Hopefully, he becomes the most important man at Chelsea, because too often players or individuals are more important than the manager, and that can't run.
As you said there, so that obviously that's long term. Looking at it from what you've said there, it kind of echoes what I said. If isolated to this 90 minutes, if Arsenal are to have a smidgen of winning, there's moments of individual lapses in concentration you have to capitalize on. And also, crucially, it's rocket science, something that Arsenal doesn't do. Minimal chances if they do get presented, where Chelsea, as you kind of said, not necessarily the most clinical. Fix up sort of thing. I look at that game and I look at it, and I know there's been little dribs and drabs of tweaking the three at the back, but I could only be blindly optimistic, because on the best of days, Arsenal's midfield, isn't good enough, and for multiple reasons, not just from players' ability point of view, just the tactical know-how. Like, you look at the goal we conceded against West Brom, Pereira started that from his own half, just dribbled, and there's just so much to depack about it, innit? Depack about the goal. You can't do that against Chelsea. That midfield or five with the wing backs, it surrounds you very quickly. It's not really a builder's five at the back trying to stay out. You're still trying to be offensive. They're going to swarm you, sort of thing. So it comes down to, can we win our individual battles, in which I don't think we can, because on top of that, we play with a high line. Now, you can see why a high line, even I think it's mad because Werner's just not scoring. Ultimately, he's going to be judged on that. I don't want to say he's doing everything well, but he's doing everything else kind of decent, like them blindless runs into the channels. That's what troubles me as an Arsenal fan. This is why, away from the banter and whatnot, I can't really find some positives in relation to why we could do something from a tactical point of view. Beyond, I hope, we've got nothing else to play for. It's Chelsea, Arsenal. Everything's going great at Chelsea, potential double and all of these things. Just try something in it. Try and build for next season. On a rather selfish reason, when I look at some of the young players, forget the club and the fans. You're playing because, be a bit selfish, because now I'm getting an opportunity. Or if some of you can get moves, play for the shop window. Just play to have a problem, because, like you said earlier, with respect to Leeds, because Leeds are trying to finish above us. I can't disrespect them. And I mean, no disrespect to Brighton. You just said what? West Brom, Leeds, Brighton, and I'm sure there's some others. Couple teams you've drawn against, they've made you work for them points. Like, I look at when you beat Fulham at Craven Cottage, we played them at the start. They're a different team. They made you work for those points. So teams you've beaten teams and they've made you work. That's a problem with Arsenal. I think we give away 3 points too easy. If you're the better team, which you have been, and you do what you need to do, then I can't really talk. But
do you think you guys have? Do you think your set of players have the mentality to come to this game and turn up right? Because since that Villarreal outing, everybody's saying the season's over. And for me, we ain't got the top four yet. This game, the motivation for us is, if you win this, you're in the top four. Do you know what I'm saying?
More gravy.
So do you think your set of players have the motivation to come and actually turn up, or do you think they're just going to say, the season's done now? Because you're not playing for anything in it. And I don't know what that European Super Conference League, do you know what I'm saying, thing is, but I don't know if that's valuable for you to man. I honestly,
we probably need it. We probably need it for the peace. Probably need it. Like, as much, real talk. Probably need
What
it.
you need is to
That's
keep
Europe.
listening to Spotify. That's all
What
you
we,
man need
well,
to
what
do
we
as a
need
fan
is
base.
Jesus, bro. What we need is a
I
higher
don't
power,
think
man. God
I
needs
don't
to
think
save
that
his people.
competition is worth it for you lot. I really
Bro.
don't. I
We're
think
older
maybe
than the competition, bro.
Hmm?
Come on. Me and you are older than the competition. It's not
Yeah,
serious.
bro. Like
It's not
honestly, it's just a
serious.
league campaign. Focus on the league. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you have a full week to prepare
Hey,
for
would
your
you let
matches.
me press you on that, yeah? Because that's a good.
Mm.
You touched on it, yeah, and it wasn't something I planned on speaking, but obviously Chelsea kind of now. I want to ask you more about this later because Chelsea and Arsenal are different for many reasons. But
Yeah.
there was a season. Forgive me if I'm wrong. There was no Europe. You won the league in it, so there is logic behind playing once a week and the rest of it. Personally. I understand it. I comprehend it. When you look at Chelsea's example and what you try to do as a club, I condone it. But when I look at us this season, and I know it's not the same, we have played multiple games a week, but or every 10 days. But there's been times we played once a week, mashed it up. So what happens? So what happens then? Also, not that I you know me, I don't like to talk about finances because fans is irrelevant to us. It's football. But as much as I hate to speak about that, not being in Europe, even though it's gone, it has a knock-on effect. And when I look at this, on the best of days, we have a bloated squad. Suddenly, out of Europe, there's the FA Cup, depending on what you do, there's the Carling Cup, you've got the 38 games. Surely you have to cut the squad, even beyond what Arsenal need to do. It has to be cut further because there's
That's
not
good because
there's
you
not
need to cut it
6
anyway.
games. Go on.
Yeah. But that's good because you need to cut it anyway. There's too much dead wood in your team. Do you know what I'm saying? This is a great
That's what I'm
opportunity.
saying. We need to do that anyway. So we're needing to do it now. You see what I'm saying? So where do you stand on that? On all of that playing once a week and that?
I think, yeah, because for me, you guys already with your squad, yeah, you've got too much players in there that don't deserve to be at the football club. I can go all day through the list, Bellerin, everything. But with the distraction of Europe, you then, like you said, you need to have a bigger squad. You need to be able to rotate Thursday, Saturday, Wednesday, whatever it may be. With just the league to focus on, it's an opportunity for you to scrap some of them, peripheral members in the squad that are not needed. Go for just concentrate on finishing in a position in the league that the club, the stature of the club warrants. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you can just, like Leicester did it on the league title, if you can just focus on the league, you do get that whole week, and you get that whole week every week. Now, is Arteta good enough tactically to take advantage of that week? That's a different discussion.
Oh,
and I
don't
personally
know.
don't think so.
I don't know because
because
I just see real talk with Arteta. Listen, there's two sides to every story, and I just think fans get it over twisted. I feel sorry for Arteta. He is, let's be real, this is no criticism of him, a novice manager. In any walk of life, if you have a novice, you need to surround them with quality on and off the field and be able to answer the simple question of, have I given this guy everything to succeed? The answer has been no. That's where I feel sorry for him. And obviously player mistakes, a lot he can't account for. Where I feel sorry for it and don't feel sorry for him, at the end of the day, this is a results business. Second of all, you knew what job you're going into. Third of all, I know there's a lot of variables you cannot control as a manager. The one variables you can control, you haven't done it. Now, once again, we're going to get into it. I promise you lot, fans. Chelsea and Arsenal is different. I feel Chelsea kind of had a better base of players and whatnot. And Lampard, in that sense, did a lot better than people give him credit for. But if we look at it, Thomas Tuchel, there for 2 seconds. He's ultimately not changed much, but changed a lot, if you get what I'm saying. Not invented the wheel. What he might even do a madness next season, but he's found something. There's experience factor in that, of course, but he's found something. You can answer the simple question within 2 seconds of what is his Chelsea DNA for this season, at least? What is he trying to do? We're here in May. He had, I won't say half a season, but he had a run to the end of the year. He did have some sort of a preseason. While we've been going among the season, let's get it twisted. You've still got these boys double sessions and whatnot a week. Why can I not answer what is Mikel Arteta's Arsenal?
Yeah, exactly.
Why can I not say that to you? Me and you can't be in a pub and you ask me that question and I can't say that to you. What is this about?
Exactly. What is the style of play? What is the plan? What is the core values? Because when you bring in Willian, and when you promote, Saka and Smith Rowe, that's two different things. You know what I'm saying? That's two different situations that you're talking about.
And not give other man minutes and that.
Yeah, and listen, I know all about bringing in experienced, players to guide your young players. Of course, 100%, I always back it. That's what Thiago Silva is. But Willian, for you to be getting your first goal on the weekend, I'm sorry, but that's a disgrace. That is a full-on disgrace.
He's an agent, man.
Bro. Look how much you're paying him for 3 years, and that's his first goal of the season. That tells you already that's a madness. And I said it at the start of the season when you signed him. Do you know what I'm saying? You didn't bring in
signing Chelsea pensioners, man. You lot are bookie, man. Like, don't sign them. They're coming in to spoil it for us.
But you have to sign a guy with the right mentality who's coming to prove a point. Willian's got nothing to prove at Arsenal. He's done it already in this country. He's won what he's needed to win. He said his quotes at the start of the season, the plan under Arteta was to get back into the Champions League, and then the plan was to win it at the end of his contract. And what drug am I meant to believe that he's smoking there with that one?
Spice.
Come on now. That was not going to happen. He's got nothing to prove. He wanted to stay in London. It's all about convenience. And from the moment you start signing a player based on convenience, who wanted to stay at Chelsea, by the way, just the length of contract wasn't good enough, you set yourself up to fail. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to make your club a destination and not a pass-through. Do you know what I'm saying? Are you where Dora the Explorer is trying to get to? Or are you just the part on the map where she's gliding?
Well, Liverpool Street Station, boy. Like, arguably, you could even go back to the manager and say, this is where I get onto the, as much as I criticize Arteta and Willian, this is where I get onto the club's mentality, because in the same way Arsenal don't necessarily see the fruits of our labor with either giving young players, seeing it like a Gnabry play for us and bad it up week in, week out, or get top money for him if he is going to go to Bayern Munich. You could argue we're doing that with Arteta now, because for me, obviously he's got a boss, but who is sitting there and going, what do you think of your tactics? Same way I want him to do that about the players. What do you think of your tactics? Why did you do a false nine? You know this. As much as I praise Tuchel, it's cutthroat. He knows he can't do silliness. And I just feel Arteta and the club, it's a relationship of convenience. As much as I believe Arteta in that, I can criticize him for doing it the wrong way, that he wants to get Arsenal back to where we need to go and mentioned in positive ways. I don't feel there's pressure beyond the obvious on you. I just feel the owner isn't speaking to you week in, week out. And then you're relishing this, because why else? You go into semi-finals over the two legs doing a madness.
There's a reason why it's Arteta and it's not someone like Conte. It's not just because Arsenal have, fallen down the pecking order over the last few years. I still personally believe the name Arsenal holds weight. Yeah, it's not a Tottenham. However, when you bring in someone like Conte, he comes with demands and he comes with expectations, and he is not interested in, I can't get Lukaku. It's get Lukaku or bust. Do you know what I'm saying? He is constantly causing a storm for the board. He's a headache. He challenges the status quo. He makes sure that you push the limits so he can succeed. And Arteta just feels like, again, what Wenger was, which was just, a spokesperson for the board at times, because, again, he understands, that he can't speak out, or, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to keep everything rosy and keep both sides of the coin happy, the board and the fans. And it's not possible, by the way. Do you know what I'm saying?
You have to lean on. And that's where, bro, I feel something's gone on with Arteta, because obviously, let's be real, as much as we would like him to, real fans understand at the end of the day, he's Arsenal manager. He can't come out here and say, well, he can, but he's not going to say, out this, that, and the third. But I feel at the start, he was not indirectly he was calling for action. He would say little things like, I need a midfielder, but it doesn't depend on me. We know we need to move in this and that. And now it becomes a bit like a politician now. Like, is it a thing where we're being silent because things are happening? Because I look at it now, I would just like a bit of honesty from somebody at the club. It's like the house is burning, man. Telling me that it's all fine when it's absolutely not. As much as I get onto Arteta, and he's got no justification for staying in the job on how he's moving. I'm not saying this to keep him, but sacking him doesn't solve anything until you get rid of the owner. Because just like with just like with Unai Emery, apologies, I'd never had to, he went about it mad, but I didn't doubt. I had belief that he wanted to and kind of knew how to take Arsenal to the next level, but he's crippled. I feel when it comes down to signing players, yes, he should have a say, but we should have a DNA about this. From time to time, Roman doesn't get too involved in transfers, but you hear Haaland. Now, I know Lampard would like that, but I very much doubt Lampard's going to Abramovich and saying that he wants him. My point being is not to necessarily praise him for that. It's some players can be signed without the managers say so, and they can still work. It's just a balance. But beyond that, as much as Tuchel does the thing and whatnot, there's a somewhat sort of ethos. I know Chelsea criticised their squad and stuff, but there's something with assembling it. Arsenal squad is terrible because we've been making terrible choices. Now we can criticise the manager. So do you think it's as simple as, if we were to follow you lot's format, in that end of the day, Lampard lost his job in it. There was 200 odd million spent. Job got taken at the halfway point. Tuchel's come in, whether it succeeds or not. Right now, there's 2 cup finals. There's everything going wavy. Do you think Arsenal should follow suit and do something like that? Do you think it's as simple like in our case with that?
I think, listen, I've said before, I don't think you can win a title under this ownership. It's not possible. But I do believe there is a certain threshold you cannot afford to fall below. You just spoke about the importance of European football. And do I think somebody more qualified, more experienced, more tactically astute than Mikel Arteta can get more out of the current squad that you have? 100%. Arsenal do not have a bad squad. Do you know what I'm saying? Gabriel, for me, is a very promising player. Tierney is a very good player as well. You've still got Aubameyang. You know, yes, there's question marks about mentality and whatnot after securing the bag. But at the end of the day, he's still been pammeling goals over the last few years. You've got young players up and coming like Saka, like Smith Rowe. What Arsenal do not need to do is make a bad situation worse. We know the owners is a problem. It's
Frame that
100%.
up, someone. Yeah. Someone quote that. That's on bang on the money. This is why I do live streams with you. Carry on, bro. You're preaching. I'm loving it.
Just because the house is burning down, and what, you've got 2 houses burning down, so what, you're gonna let them both burn down? The fire brigade will put out one of the houses. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't just let both houses burn down to the ground. You try and put out one, and if you can put out the other one later, you do so. Now, can Arsenal attract a world-class manager with this current ownership? We don't know, but you have to try. You have to try and recruit someone who's more qualified to do the job.
I think they haven't said no.
Yeah,
I think they said no, because again, it's like you said, when you get down to the nuts and bolts, why is Carlo gonna come here? Because Carlo's not gonna come here. He's telling Everton, I need James. No disrespect to Everton, but James is obviously, if you give him the bag, you give him the bag. But I strongly think Carlo is the reason he's there. Carlo's come out and said, I didn't want Decore. The club were there to sign him. They've signed a man that works. When you do things like that, it's certified. So it's like, that's the mentality. You look at, I don't want to even praise West Ham too much because I know their fans are on to their owners, but you look at 9 times out of 10, when Arsenal look above us, and there's a long way to look, and we look below us, it seems like you understand what everyone's about. Big up Tim, because he's a Leeds fan. You look at what Leeds are about. It's all in Bielsa's image, literally from first team to 23s. I don't know what Arteta's image is. I don't know if he deserves the right for that, but you don't feel like the manager gets that, and there's too much clouded waters, in my opinion, at this club. But it's like you said, and I agree with that. There's not a level to slip below, and this is why you need a contingency plan. You bring in Arteta and do whatever if you want to do that, but at the same time, what if it goes wrong? Who can I call? And I know it can't be a quick grind. You know, our neighbours Spurs are gonna have to deal with that. I don't know if they're gonna keep Ryan Mason or not, but I definitely feel it's one of them. I don't necessarily feel sacking him deserves to be sacked, but at the same time, he needs to go. But it's like, what's going to change with the owners?
I think you need to get someone who's unemployed. I don't think you're going to pull out a Rodgers or Ancelotti out of their current jobs. I think, you know, again, I don't like to be advising. I don't like to be advising my rival how to improve themselves. But if I'm honest with you and taking it from a non-biased standpoint, I would be looking at Sarri. Because, again, this is another manager that is very underappreciated. Now, does he have his flaws? 100%. I can tell you Maurizio Sarri can be very rigid. I can tell you he's going to be inflexible at times with his system. He's not going to want to make too many changes outside of 13 or 14 core players. Well, what is he going to bring? He's going to bring a style of play. He's not going to need a lot of money because you look at Napoli, he worked with what he had and he improved players. He improved individuals. And the same with Chelsea. Yes, he got a couple key components, but at the end of the day, he did improve players as well. He improved our style of play, and he started
saying you're a double agent.
Yeah, and it's not even a double agent thing. It's just coming onto here and speaking honestly, isn't it? Because I could do the whole banter thing, but that's kind of been maxed out. I did laugh with the Villarreal thing, but the laugh didn't last as long as.
It's not as funny. It don't slap anymore because we're dead.
Exactly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny until it does. The laugh doesn't last as long as the previous laughs did. Do you know what I'm saying? It would be my main point. And I just think with you need to be coached properly. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't bring in someone who needs to splash the cash because we know your owners are not on that. Although you have spent some money.
That's why we need other people, bro. Because let's not act like, as much as Kroenke needs to go and what's not, let's not act like, this is why I have little little sort of things, because we still spent peas. And I look at Arteta. Yes, Arteta's not bought a Pepe for 70 odd million, but at the same time, if you worked with Sterling and that, you should be able to get more of a tune, not this last furlong. Also, at the same time, you've sanctioned Ceballos coming back. It's not just the big signings, it's the free transfers. You have come out and said, I asked for Willian. I wanted Willian. I spoke to Willian. He might not be a transfer fee, but he's expensive, and you've kind of had to keep egg on your face by playing him. So I look at it, as much as Kroenke needs to go, like you can see, we ain't got Marino and these sort of people that are serious and sensible. We're just signing players that are having standouts. You know, we spent a lot of money, and there's too much man that divide opinion. Really and truly, Tierney, Gabriel, they're examples of not spending too much and them being half decent. But go on, man.
You look at Tierney, right? You look at Gabriel, you look at Thomas Partey, Pepe. That's a lot of money.
Not for the super chat, man. Go on, my guy.
That's a lot of money. It's not, maybe you'd want to spend more, but my point would be is that, listen, with the right recruitment, just look at what Leicester have done. With the right recruitment, just look at what these other clubs are doing around you that you're behind. You don't have to splash. Like, the thing is,
spend sensibly.
You can spend sensibly. You can change the approach of your club in terms of where you buy. to improve yourselves. You know, you look at the way that, you know, even Liverpool spent the money that they received for, you know, Coutinho and Sterling. They didn't go and buy world-renowned names across the board. Yes, they splashed on Van Dijk, but they also bought Andrew Robertson. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, for me, yes, your owners are a huge problem, and they 100% are the main problem. And until you get rid of them, you won't win the league, in my opinion. But you have not been stifled for cash the same way Tottenham have been under Pochettino. They did not spend a penny. And I mean, every transfer window, back to back, nobody's coming in the club. And by the way,
no Spurs praise. They bought Ndombele. I've thrown that one out, David. Though you're right, but I just have to try an agenda.
Do you know what I mean? But, like, they didn't splat. Like, they went windows without spending. It looked like it was on a transfer ban. And by the way, every year they still improved. So there is an art to coaching. Do you know what I'm saying? There is an art to coaching. There is an art to bringing in, you know, names that look at the French league in financial crisis. You can't tell me that Arsenal can't go and pick up some players from the French league for 20 million a pop and improve this team. It doesn't always have to be a big
there
name.
And watch there. Look, Samore's gone Leicester, whether it be example. I was begging for Fofana to go with Saliba. Not happening, you know. Siyinchu, fair enough, fans weren't really rating Siyinchu's thing because they didn't know too much about him. But look what he's done for Leicester and how they've reinvested it. What do you make of Arteta as a manager? Because as much as people can criticize him and he overtakes it and tactically, you know, there is something there. He has won big games. He has beat you lot in a final. He has beat you lot this season. You know, he's what do the outsiders or you as a Chelsea fan make of this guy? Like, is there a method to his madness? Is he booky? Like, what do you make of him going into this game as much as we can take it seriously if we can?
He's learning on the job. It couldn't be more clear than that. And this is the same situation we had with Lampard. Lampard had won big games. We had beaten Tottenham away last season, in his first season. We had beaten big teams in big moments. But at the end of the day, they're learning on the job. Now it depends on how, like I said, where's your threshold? Because with Lampard this season, I said to myself, you have to finish top 4. If you don't finish top 4, you have to be sacked. And from the moment that became a risk, that's when he had to come out. Now, and the club clearly agreed. Arteta, he's learning on the job. Yes, he's had moments, but he hasn't been able to sustain a successful or even respectable league campaign. Now, you can have your finals. Portsmouth won the FA Cup final. Wigan won the FA Cup final. It's fantastic to have these clutch moments. This is what I get onto Marcus Alonso about. You score your winner at Etihad, but consistently over a season, are you good enough? And if you're not, then that's where questions come into it. The league does not lie. The league table never lies, unless Manchester United are second. Do you know what I'm saying? I just had to get that dig in. Do you know what I mean? The league table doesn't lie.
Fact,
do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
Do you know it's so refreshing to hear you say this, because I feel like, not that anyone, DG Nation, big up everyone. Make sure you're subscribing to Matisse as well. I've dropped the link in the message, and I'll do it again now. This is why I like to hear someone else say it, because I'm sure you're wary of it as well. You know, in that you sound like a broken record when you're saying the same thing again and again and again and again. You said it there, the table doesn't lie. Again, I'm not saying Arsenal should be winning leagues. I would love it. I'm not saying we should be doing something, but I should have a prolonged sustainability. And it's like, I've seen my manager and this club too often focus on VAR, fine margins. Oh, you know, we started slow in the first 20 minutes, but we was at it the other duration of the game. Football don't work like that. Why VAR? While VAR has done us dirty and things like that. For me, okay, these are incidences that are happening over a 1, 2, 3 minute max period in the game. What about the other situations? It's not making sense, you know. Again, this is the thing with us, and I feel one thing that's really annoyed me is the language Arteta has done, you know, in that he just seems to be deflecting and things, and he's probably gone through a period of doubting himself and things, as he probably should be, as you probably would. And it's like, I don't know where I stand on him, because I can't answer the simple question of what is this team about. You know, I think sometimes I think it's about being brave, being protagonist, playing attractive football. But like you said, you know, it's too far and beyond. It'll make a great 4-minute highlight on YouTube. And I've been saying this throughout the season. We'll win what I call battles, beating you, man, you know, at the Emirates, beating United, doing whatever. We'll win these battles, but we'll lose the war. We'll be where we are in the table. And when you lot are doing what you're doing, other people doing what we're doing, be like, haha, but we beat them though. Now, banter, like you said, the banter thing is cool. No one wants to lose to their rivals. Agendas have to run. But that's dead. And that's actually something Arsenal been doing. You know, that sums up our FA Cups. Like you said, not to belittle the FA Cup. It's a trophy. It's a big trophy and things. But like you said, with respect, Portsmouth have won it. Wigan have won it. You know, it's not really anything. You know, I know Spurs would like to win it because they don't know what a trophy is about. But they're allowed to do what they want. And it's like, I don't know, because I can't disregard him winning the FA Cup. I have seen some good tactics. I have seen sometimes he has a plan and the players let him down, individual mistakes. But I have also seen he can't react to things. Like he's a good, if it was a boxing game and me and you are going into a boxing match and he's my coach, he could be like, yeah, Matisse, he leans on this foot too much, do this, do that to him. And we'll work on that for months. We'll go into it for the first 30 seconds. And what he says is a madness, but you might do something that he don't know about. And it harms me. And he doesn't know how to counteract that, because it just feels like, to me, any competent manager, not necessarily a big name, because I've got plenty of examples, they kind of give him a problem. You know, we can say Brendan Rodgers, we can say Dean Smith, we can say Nuno at the Emirates, we can say Bielsa for me as well. But you could also say Olympiacos, because there was a period in that second half. Yep. My man went free at the back. He had no answers for that. You can say Benfica. Obviously, Emre's Emre, but there's Emre. Like, that's my biggest problem. That and the man management, as good as it's been.
There's two things for me that are crucial. If you're Arsenal Football Club and you're in the league in May and you're telling me you're not fighting for something and you're not challenging for anything, you're not even challenging for Europa League football, that is a problem. That is a massive
pride anymore, bro.
That is a problem. Like, Arsenal Football Club should never be on a pride thing in the league. It's a joke. So from that point on, you've already lost the battle. Now, when it comes to the other clubs in this league, where do you, like, say to yourself honestly, because I had to do this with Lampard, where do you put your manager in the league table of managers? Is he better than Bielsa? Is he better than even Chris Potter? Is he better than Rodgers, Ancelotti? Go to the table, forget the clubs and the players and the squads.
Okay, let's actually, you know what? Let's do that.
Because if you do it honestly,
is there a website to just see them all, or we just, you know, just look at the league table?
I don't know, but I had to self-reflect to myself honestly and put my manager in the league table of managers, and where would they fall? And if they don't fall where Arsenal's ambitions should lie, and they're below, because we always talk about players not being good enough, Bellerin not being good enough for Arsenal. Where would he play in this league if he wasn't at Arsenal? What about the manager? Where would he manage if he wasn't at Arsenal?
All right, come, let's do this, bro.
All
right, cool. I'm going to start from top to bottom. Obviously, we know Pep's not better than him. You know, again, is he better than Oli? I can't lie, I'm going to give it to him, innit? I'm going to give it to him just based on, you know, United are doing their thing, but I'm going to give it to him, you know. I'm going to give it to him. It's a pride.
You can give him
I'm going to give it to him on a pride.
I personally don't rate either too highly, but I have to give Oli some respect for finishing second at this point. But
this is it.
I don't know how he's scraping results, that brother.
This is it. Okay, cool. Is he better than Thomas Tuchel? Of course not. You are Arteta if you're listening to this, patting up Wednesday, but on a serious note, you're not. You know, you're not better. You ain't, you know, Brendan Rodgers, you got to give him his respect. You know, David Moyes, fair enough, you won FA Cup. I'd rather him than David Moyes. I'm not going to sit here and cap, but it's just... To
be honest, if you look at David Moyes' CV at Everton, apart from that Manchester United stint, he's not better than David Moyes. Do you know what I'm saying? David Moyes has been, outside of the Manchester United stint, really did do bad for his
to be fair to David Moyes, I swear he technically got Everton top 4 once, and then they effed it up.
At Everton, he was very, very consistent on a quite, you know, limited budget.
Yeah, he done his thing. You know what? Again, I got to give a man his stripes. Before we carry on, Realist TV has said, deluded Gooner, Arteta in. Bro, I'm Arsenal win. I don't care if Arteta goes. I don't care if these players go. Arteta hasn't. If we keep him, it is what it is. He's shown no reason to deserve not being sacked. You know, you can see it. That's it. Too many people get caught up in the players and the fans. I just care about my club. Anyone can get it. The Wolves are out. If your name is not Kieran Tierney, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel, Aubameyang, and Partey, I'll give you lot your stripes. I know it's not been good. You can leave my club. They're the only man I care about. And if I'm really pushed, Tierney, Saka, Martinelli, everyone else can keep it moving. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
I think under a top manager, you'll see a different Thomas Partey. For me, he's still a baller. I just think right now, you know, he's caught the disease. The
problem, like Gabriel,
Gabriel is
because this is the thing. Like, to not to go off course with this, but it's like we're signing, man, and they calm their breath of fresh air. You know, we might have played rubbish, but Smith Rowe as well. You're right, man. Shout out Smith Rowe again. I forgot to say him. Shout out Smith Rowe. As I was saying, like players will play good and they'll be the shining light. Then eventually, you know, they become rubbed. They get infected with the thing. They start moving rubbed.
Gabriel had,
Is it?
Gabriel was a player that I wanted at Chelsea. In terms of centre backs, I was, when we were going for our shortlist, obviously I didn't ever expect Thiago Silva. I thought, Gabriel was very promising. Yeah, he's got a few things to brush up on, but he's a very promising centre back. Any French expert, I spoke to Julian Laurens, even in Brazil.
Check out that interview, people. Like I said, subscribe to Matisse's channel. Once again, we're dropping the link in there.
Appreciate it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he is a promising centre back. You look at Thomas Partey at Atletico Madrid. He was fantastic for them. You've got quality. Do you know what I'm saying? And you've done good recruitment in areas. That's why your recruitment does confuse me, because you go from a Willian to a Gabriel and a Partey and a Tierney. Like that's three very good signings for most progressive.
Could be foundation.
Yeah, it's for most progressive, talented managers. They'll look at those three players and say, "I'm doing wonders with those three." Do you know what I'm saying? 100%. You're just missing, again, as per usual with Arsenal, you've got some things in certain positions, in other positions you don't. The left side of your defence, I must say, doesn't need to be touched, if I'm honest. Do you know what I'm saying? The right side now, it's a different situation. Do you know what I'm saying?
The right side of our whole team. Pepe might be able to scumbag it. Saka might be able to scumbag it, but it's not quite enough. Like you said, we're very easy to read in that regard. My people, obviously, man, we don't need to say every player. Saliba is irrelevant to what's been the madness. So, of course, I've got no problems with Saliba. He's played no part. He's been moving a bit mad in a couple vids, but apart from that,
another talent.
He's calm, yeah. But back to this, bro. As you can see, yeah.
Klopp,
Pep's obviously better than him. Tuchel's better than him. Rodgers is better than him. I give David Moyes his longevity stripes. Klopp is better than him. Ryan Mason is not better than him. Carlo Ancelotti is better than him. Bielsa is better than him. Dean Smith, I've seen a sort of DNA. I'll put you above Dean Smith, but truthfully, Dean Smith has got the man there promoted, so he's earned his stripes. You're not better than Nuno. Hudson's got his stripes in the game, but I think you're better than him. I think you're better than Steve Bruce. Potter, I don't think you're better in terms of a DNA and things. You're not better than him. I don't think you're currently shown that you can coach a squad better than Hassan Hutel. Dyche, I can't lie, I'm anti-Dyche, so I'm going to say
obviously we're taking them brothers out of this equation. Yeah, they're not managing Arsenal Football Club. Your Rodgers and your sorry, not your Rodgers.
Yeah, you're right, fam.
But if you go through, obviously
it's a bit mad still.
When you go through, obviously, Roy Hodgson, Sean Dyche, these are not the guys that can manage Arsenal Football Club. So obviously, they're below him in that respect. You need to have a little bit to you in terms of the way that you're gonna be on the ball. They're set up to obviously keep their teams in the league. But if you go through the whole thing, bro, he's in the bottom. He's probably in the bottom 6. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I would say, yeah. Do you know what I wasn't trying to do? Because obviously the better thing. It don't really. It depends what you call as better in it, because like me and you saying, we're just saying, are you better? It is what it is. But some coaches, their job is to get promoted. Other man is stability. Other man it's winning things. So I found myself going through that league and not only asking you that, but I'm like, can you, what's your DNA saying in comparison to him? I see what Hassan, for all the problems of Southampton, I can see what Bielsa, Hassan Hutel, to a degree, David Moyes, and the rest of them. I see what you're doing. I don't know what Arsenal's DNA is. I don't know what we're about. And again, I know he's inherited a lot of mess, but what has he done? On one hand, you can only do as well as the tools presented to you. But on the other hand, a bad tradesman blames the tools. If I'm a tradesman and you pay for me to do your driveway and I mash it up and I say, well, it was my tools, what are you going to tell me? Run my peas back, bro. What's all of that? You took the job. As much as they might not be the most expensive tools. You took the job and assured me you could do a thing.
If he's an intelligent guy, and he looked at that Arsenal job and saw that ownership and saw that history and thought he could change it, then why are we changing our tune now? Do you know? Because at the end of the day, he's meant to be a very intelligent guy. He worked under Pep. He should understand that, okay, 1 + 1 = 2. You know Arsenal Football Club. You played there. You understand the structure, or at least the basic fundamental structure of the club. You understand what you're jumping into. So we can't do this thing where he's handicapped and he doesn't understand what's going on and he can't get this and he can't get that.
It only goes so far.
He knew what it was. He knew
it goes so far. And it's like the point you said earlier, sorry to cut you off, about Tuchel. Tuchel could be on a 4. He could be a 4-3-3, man. He could be a 4-2-2, man. 4-4-2. Apologies, man. Tuchel could switch it up next season. But right now, he's coming. If it ain't broke, I'm gonna try fix what I can. I'm gonna find balance. Some of these players, what I want to do next year and beyond, they might not be levels. But right now, this is what I can get out of them to get there. That's what I wanted to see with Arteta. That's why I don't mind the false 9 and things beyond the obvious. I haven't seen a full plan. And we knew, going from last season in the FA Cup, yeah, we won it and all of these things, but we knew the importance of starting well, of having a DNA. Now, you look at our transfer market, we took forever to get Partey, so there is aspects to how everything is playing a part. But we knew we needed a system. And like I said, you had the job at the end of last year. I should know what the DNA is about. I can't really give you the praise for playing out from the back because that's Emre's thing. You know, Emre fans were like, what are you doing? We, you know, keepers can't play out from the back. We had check with and all that sort of stuff. You know, what is our plan? Our plan is just relying on these young G's. Look at the first goal. But both our goals against West Brom were quality, to be fair. But look at the first goal. Shout out to actually Ceballos and Willian, who don't move too much. But you look at the movement between Saka and Smith Rowe, just movement. No one else moves. It's like we were relying on individual moments. We don't know what we're consistently about. For me, the problem is I don't understand our midfield because you look, once again, you look at Pereira's goal. It's naive. We're not mad defensive. We're not mad technical. We don't defend. Even a form of defense is how you hold on to the ball and do what you want. Chelsea against Madrid to a degree shown that. I don't know what we're about. Once again, Arteta, you was a midfielder, so it goes beyond you being Arsenal manager. If I'm a fullback, which I was, and I have a grassroots team, indirectly that position is where I'm gonna have an eye to, and one where, if anything, no one should come and tell me about my fullback. She was one. You know, Wenger was a centre half allegedly growing up, and as much as I love Wenger, he's moving a bit mad in the Emirates with our centre halves, so it doesn't always go anywhere. But you get the point.
Do you know what? Yeah, I always felt that your team, just on the surface of it, did suit a back three formation because I look at right back Bellerin. If I don't want that brother defending. In fact, I don't really want him attacking. I don't want him on the pitch personally. But if I was to play someone like Bellerin, I would have him at wing back. I wouldn't put him in a back four. I think he puts too much pressure on the right side.
No, it's with Bellerin, bro. I'll give Arteta. You know, Arteta shouldn't be playing him, but I'll give it to him. Yeah. Maybe it's the tactics, but Bellerin is cowardly, man. As much as I like him, I hate how he gets a bad rep off the field, but he's one of them, man. You know, when you've played football in school and couple man don't really want to express themselves and they're playing that safe pass or they're putting themselves in areas they know you're not going to give it. He's on that. You know, look at Chambers is not the answer long term. But just from a man making the overlapping run, Pepe can tuck in. Is it any coincidence? Anyone who plays half like a right back, Pepe plays better in the same way. Someone who can play competent at, you know, Gabriel's in the team and we're instantly offered a bit more in an attacking sense as much as he's there to defend. Some of this stuff is not rocket science, man.
Sometimes you just need to make that fake run. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not that you have to receive the ball. Just to make that run gives the defender a second guess because now he's suddenly got to watch something else because there is space. And that obviously will open up space for Pepe. And Pepe needs that space. You look at Lille, how he was performing. It was all about running into space, running in behind, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You can't do that if you're coming up against low blocks and nobody's getting pulled out of position.
Right. Let me ask you this. Sorry to cut you off again. You mentioned Pepe, Go back into the false nine quickly. And for me, like I said, if that's Thomas Tuchel, I don't know. Thomas Tuchel probably wouldn't have done this and it still would have worked. But if Thomas Tuchel's here in that situation and you want to play a false nine in that semi-final, to play devil's advocate, Pepe's done that.
Yeah.
Put him in the role. What do you make of that?
Yeah, listen,
understanding the guys.
Pepe for me is very similar. Well, they're different players, but he could be used as that Timo Werner guy. And if he does use that work rate and he does, you know, drag defenses and pull them apart, he's got a lot of pace to burn. He knows what it's like to go in behind in that French league and go 1v1 with the goalkeeper and put it in the back of the net. He's got a few penalties under his belt as well, but he's got the experience to do it. Now, if you're going to go that route, why not try him in that role? Do you know what I'm saying? Minimalize his game a little bit, make it a bit more simple. Don't have him so deep in the build-up play and play him off the defensive line. Make his job very, very simplified. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes with these players, when they're adapting to this league as well, which he's clearly still doing, you need to simplify their game. Don't make it too complicated. Sometimes I see him dropping deep and trying to be a playmaker and whatnot. I'm thinking to myself, why are you trying to overcomplicate his game? You haven't got a right back overlapping as well. So put him somewhere else. Do you know what I'm saying? He had a really good stint on that left-hand side. No shock, you've got better left backs in the team as well. He was getting some goals from the left-hand side. And Saka was on the right, who's just a little bit more complete as a footballer in terms of his decision-making, him on the ball, passing it, link-up play. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at the form he had. I don't know how many games it was, but he was looking decent over there. So, yeah, man, I just think sometimes you need to prioritize chemistries in the team. And, you know, if you've got someone like Pepe, maybe you do need to put him up there and minimalize his job, or put him on that left and put him with a better left back, because you're handicapping him right now with that right back situation. It's just, he for me, Bellerin is one of your biggest issues. That and the centre midfield. Obviously, I don't feel like your midfield has any balance as well. That's why I suggested the three at the back. Very similar to Chelsea. Chelsea's midfield,
I think that's what we should do against you lot, to be fair.
Yeah, well, probably. I mean, a lot of teams have tried to switch it up against us and play the back three and it hasn't worked, maybe because they haven't got as many miles they haven't got the mileage on the clock. But I just look at your midfield and how imbalanced it is, and I think to myself, it needs that security of a back three. And people look at a back three and think, oh, it's defensive. It's only as defensive as you make it.
As your manager, thank you. It's freedom within the framework. City's ethos is fundamentally to get the ball in the back of the net. So they could play 11 players in defense. They're still going to go forward. Our thing is, like you said, we've got imbalances, we've got individual habits, we've got poor qualities, we've got poor mentalities, and the manager, we don't know what we're doing. Our goal is supposed to be our first attacker, our first defender is meant to be whoever's through the middle, let's just say Aubameyang. So why is our cross forever uncoordinated? And why do we not look like we have a plan when it comes from playing out from the back? Smack my Bielik up, while his name is very mad and it kills me every time I say his name. He has said an interesting comment, and I agree wholeheartedly. You said, as lacking as Bellerin is, he cuts inside every single game, just like Kyle Walker at City. It's Arteta's instructions that have also screwed over Bellerin. 100%. You know why I think Chambers plays better than Bellerin in general? As Chambers has more football IQ and he's got more clarity about who he is, what he's about, what he can and can't do, and it's just football understanding is better. I agree with that. You know, it's not just Bellerin. There's many examples. 100% S in that. You know, you're not understanding your players. It's the point that me and Matisse were making, in a sense of, you know, you might want to do several things, but if you ain't got the players, or better yet, the IQ isn't there, because when you've got a Saka, you don't want him playing everywhere, but he's an intelligent guy, and you know, you can get away with that. You can't do that with other guys. Bellerin is limited, and to be fair with you, I think Bellerin's thing should just not be on the pitch, really and truly, because he doesn't offer anything. He doesn't, for me, it's belief. You never get the vibe that, and I'm actually trying to defend Bellerin.
It's not
there. Like, he don't believe in himself. Like, I try and defend him in a sense of, I don't think he's good enough. I think he needs to go, but I think he's bordered on them, and we've all got it. You know, where you just blame for everything now, because you know you're not levels now. You just blame for everything, but you offer nothing. As I said, you know, in the stream earlier, Reece James, Trent, James Justin, Pereira, bare different right backs, you know, Wan-Bissaka, these men are all better than you, and you're not in that conversation.
Lamptey at Brighton.
Lamptey, them man, where were they? You know, they weren't anywhere when you had Vapors and a level one. They weren't about. You know, when you was at loan at Watford, these guys, I'm sure Wan-Bissaka was surpassing them.
Too many people surpassing him. From the moment he said he's planting trees every win, and then you didn't win, I knew he wasn't serious, because not only is he not serious about the game and winning now he's not serious about the environment. So, do you know what I'm saying? It's just not good.
Hey, you're right on that, man. All right, so let me ask you as a neutral, yeah? If you took over that squad, I know there's probably different categories. Like, there's probably maybe a Saka, Tierney, Gabriel, players of that ilk, that no matter anyone who took over the club within reason, you're probably going to use them and things like that. If you took over as a manager and looking in, who are them players you're looking at? I know the Bolt need to go, but who are you looking at as that? All right, cool. You know, I can build with you for a season. If you're taking over in August, and there's no signings at this moment in time, you know, where's the areas the very few you're keeping?
My core would probably be Saka, Smith Rowe, Gabriel, Tierney, Partey. I think Leno is a sticky one, because Martinez has proven to be better, which is nuts. But Leno's got a lot of pedigree behind him, man. He's got a lot of reputation behind him, and I think he's one of them guys now that you've kind of bought your stocks and you can't cash in just because it's dipping. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to kind of stick maybe run the course a little bit with him. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I don't see you guys replacing your goalkeeper after you just made your decision on who your long-term goalkeeper will be. It would strike me as very erratic, and it would look poor if you was to sell him after just selling him. Now it would look very bad. So I don't see him going anywhere. Aubameyang, for me, I can't put my hat on him, because I don't know. I look at this with a Neymar and, you know, Neymar, Mbappe. I look at that PSG change room sometimes and I think to myself, have you got the right ingredients to cultivate success? I look at them as the bigger version of Tottenham. Do you know what I'm saying? Are you the right blend of mentalities and personalities to bring us forward? And I look at Aubameyang sometimes and I think to myself, you know, late for training or whatever it is, late for meeting, you know, kind of limited at times as a footballer. You know where his strengths are, but he doesn't really give you enough in the build-up. And my thing is, with Arsenal, there's no room for passengers. In this position that you're in, everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. You've got to be giving everything on and off the ball. You don't look at no teams in mid-table, no disrespect, and see players that are luxury players or players that can't contribute in certain phases of the game. You have to be Do you know what I mean? You have to be a road runner in every aspect. You need to be given everything at every single point in the game. And I don't see him as that guy right now. So he's definitely up for question marks. I think Gabriel, of course, you know, Martinelli, he's another guy that you keep. But there's not many, man. And to be honest, most of them are either new players coming in or the young ones. Do you know what I'm saying? They're the young up and coming ones. I think what Arsenal need to do, if I'm honest, is you need to start looking around the French market, start looking around at these clubs that are financially struggling.
That's what we heard with Edu. We thought we was going. Edu is allegedly meant to come here. The Brazilian know-how. He got a lot of clout for Martinelli, which wasn't him. We need, and that's where for me,
bringing young players. You need to.
We shouldn't be waking up and saying we need to do this now. You should be knowing in October, in May, who is coming into this club. Beyond that,
and unless I don't see so many. The issue is that your pyramid scheme. At the top of it will be a David Luiz, will be a William. And these brothers are the wrong guys to spearhead a team to success because their mentality isn't on it anymore.
No, do you know what? To be fair to Luiz, I give him the mentality thing. It's just you shouldn't be in this situation where we're relying on him.
He's too reckless.
He's reckless. No, his footballing is reckless, but I've got a lot of time for David Luiz because out of all of, like I said, you know, it says everything that I'm saying this about Xhaka and David Luiz, but I've never had to question David Luiz's mentality. I've had to question his decision making. Of course, my man is against Wolves and all of these mad things. We know what David Luiz is. He's a champagne train wreck.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is with him?
If you're Gabriel, on the line, though, man.
If you're Gabriel, you look at David Luiz and you think to yourself, all right, so you just made all of these individual errors. How can I listen to you? Do you know what I mean?
This is it. This is where it gets That's it. Because you need a Portuguese man, or you need to, you know, you're bringing in Gabriel. You know, the partner has to be all right. I don't understand why it's not there. For Aubameyang, as much as he's late to training and things, I can't lie. I think the mentality is there. As an Arsenal fan, there is no time for passengers. But do I think I can move forward with maybe not relying on Aubameyang in my squad? I'd say, yeah. I can't lie. I think you can with Leno. I think there's bigger problems than Leno and Aubameyang on the scheme of it. But Leno's I feel if we improved our team beyond the obvious, we can get away with Leno. But I can't lie. I'm on the lookout for another keeper. There's rumors he wants to leave. He's kind of indirectly played that. I don't feel all the mistakes have been his. I think he's a decent shot stopper, but he just doesn't give me calmness. I feel people look at Martinez with rose tints. He made a mistake yesterday and nobody says anything, but he is better than him, of course. I just feel with Leno, there's an unhealthy arrogance about the way he plays and a laxed approach.
Yeah, I think the key to your success as a team or moving forward should be built on young players who are talented, hungry, and will take instruction. And take instruction then from a more experienced, tactically astute manager. That would be my... Do you know what I mean?
Smash the like button, people, because you lot are violating. We're not even on 200 likes. There's over 500 of you locked in. Matisse, you're getting a bit of praise as well, but you're right. You said always.
It depends Matisse... what show you catch me on, because some people see me on the Big Six and I'll move mad, but that's because I'm playing a character. Because you know what I mean? It's a big thing and there's arguing and there's war. You gotta read the room, people. Do you know what I'm saying? That's a show. This here, we come here and we just speak honestly. Do you know what I mean? On what we're doing.
You're right, man. So what? In relation to Chelsea, obviously, I do think you are going to get some silverware. You are going to get a trophy. What happens if you don't? Now, I don't feel, obviously, I'm not saying Tuchel could be sacked, but do you look at him and say, right, like, obviously, you did. Let's be honest, the goal at the moment in time was to kind of get top four at that period that Lampard was there. But do you kind of, not that you look at him funny, but you're like, right, like, what happened in the Champions League? What happened in the FA Cup? What gone for that one?
Do you know what it is with that change of appointment? It's all about the mental, because Tuchel from the get-go said, I'm here to win. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm here to bring trophies. He's put himself, and he's under that pressure instantly with the 18-month contract. So he hasn't got time, like you said, to be on no tomfoolery. He hasn't got time to make excuses. He hasn't got time to try and buy himself more time and wield his way out. He knows his manifesto is to win, and he needs to do that by any means necessary, which means there's no time for coming up with excuses or feeling sorry for yourself. Identify the problem and fix it. That is what you're paid to do as a manager. Managers are there to manage situations,
provide answers
by definition. Do you know what I'm saying? Managers are there to manage situations and issues that upcoming in by definition. You go to any company, if you work for any company, who's your manager? The guy who should know the most, the guy who should be able to get you out of a bad spot if an issue arises. Management is not about just going with the flow and not being able to change things in game, not being able to be adaptable or flexible, not being able to be challenged and needing nothing but funds and needing nothing but pumping cash into you, injections.
You need to show why you deserve peas. Tuchel has shown Tuchel, you have shown me you deserve peas. Like, you've, not that I'm saying Chelsea are going to spend another 200 odd million, but he showed me you deserve. I don't feel my man, I like this one, bring that one in, because we don't. That's one thing I like about Tuchel, and I say it again. I'm keen as the neutral in me is keen to see what he's on, because while he's overachieving in a positive way significantly and doing a lot this season, we don't know what he's about. And I think that's because, like we said, it could just be what he's doing now or next season. And he showed me if he gets different players, what is he on? Like, that's where I feel with Arteta it's a bit different, in that clearly the man needs better players. But it's like, do I know what you're going to get out of it? Because as much as we can talk about Lacazette's problems, Aubameyang's problems, Pepe's problems, why are you now? Arteta had Emery had a couple of these players, Wenger the same. Why are you now the first manager Aubameyang struggling to scoring? Why is nobody excelling in that?
Yeah, and everybody can go and get their classic 11 from FIFA and give that to Arteta, and I'm sure he'll win trophies. But cool, you could give that to any manager and they'll probably get, you give that to a world-class manager and they'll definitely get you trophies. So it's all about earning that credit as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're coming into the job with very little credit. You need to show that you can make a bad situation better at times. You need to show that you can improve players and make them better. You need to show that when push comes to shove, you can be the difference maker in the team and change the game and show that your hands are really, truly tied behind your back. And unfortunately, there's been too many errors from him as an individual that has nothing to do with the ownership, nothing to do with any outside factors. You're playing Xhaka at left back. You're taking off Aubameyang when you need a goal. All these little things are unexplainable. And then when you come out in the press and you make excuses and things like that, that just tells me that you don't even believe that you know what you're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, does Arteta really believe that he's the man for the job? If we're keeping it a buck, I don't know.
He needs to. That's one thing. Yeah, I'd rather a manager be quote unquote deluded than not. And he does feel like a bit of. That's where it's kind of annoying me as well, because he is feeling a bit sorry for himself. We ain't got time for that. I feel sorry for every Arsenal fan. My heart bleeds for a lot of these players' situations. As much as I think a lot of these players are poor, I don't want to see you do bad. But are we trying to do this play crash thing, or are we trying to be a football? Are we trying to be a football club? Arteta spoke of being ruthless in the summer. You're going to be ruthless with people who are out already. What's happened with Maitland, Guendouzi, these guys, are you going to be ruthless with your dogs? Because we need to bite the bullet on Willian. We was wrong. I hope next season, if he stays, he succeeds, obviously. But for me, we can't be here for that. This ain't signing no player from a foreign country and he's adapting. We were told, yeah, it's great signing these other men, but we need someone who knows the league, this, that, and the other. And I'm sure many Arsenal fans weren't sold on Willian, didn't have too much high expectations of Willian. Somehow he's managed to failed to deliver beyond that. I'm pretty sure no one, even Willian's harshest of critics, expected him to be here in May with 1 goal for this football club and 7 assists, and a lot of them assists he's still riding off a few months ago.
Yeah, he got a cluster of assists at the beginning of the season, and people felt like this is going to be the new Willian, and I said it from the get-go, it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Willian has nothing to play for. He's got his restaurant, he's got his 3-year deal, and that's the end of his career on good money. I'm afraid that is the mentality that you have. That is the serious situation of the matter. And that's why I say you need to bring in young, hungry players with something to fight for, or players that need trophies in the bag from their careers because they haven't got it. But you need a squad that is inferior to the manager.
Fam, you said something great there, yeah. And it's made me think a team should always reflect its manager, because when you look at Smith Rowe, Gnabry, I've got to plug Guendouzi because I like him and he's not about, and all these young players, Martinelli, you just said it, Balogun even, young and hungry. Arteta, you're a novice. You should be on a young and hungry. Yeah, I've got a lot of critics, but come through.
Yeah.
Based on the squad, do we see that?
Bro, you don't give Mourinho a young and hungry squad because he wants to win now, and you don't give Arteta experienced players who have already won stuff, who have no motivation to follow his instruction, because, by the way, they've worked under better managers. You think David Luiz and Willian are not just chilling in their yard, at their restaurant or whatever, speaking in Portuguese, saying, do you remember the days where we used to have a world-class manager in training teaching us things, and now we got to listen to this? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't match up. It doesn't align. It doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? You need to match your manager to your principles. Just like Bielsa. You wouldn't give Bielsa Mesut Ozil. No disrespect. You wouldn't, because it wouldn't fit.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's an 11-man press. You have to match your manager with your playing squad and vice versa. Otherwise, you cannot get it right. The reason why it's working for Tuchel as opposed to even PSG, he won something and he got to the final. But the reason why he couldn't get over that final hurdle is because it's very well renowned. Neymar and Mbappe or
he's not the guy for managing.
They didn't want to take the instruction. Do you know what I'm saying? They didn't want to take the instruction. You have to mirror your man to your team. It's just very simple.
Facts, like you can't disagree with that, and that's the biggest problem. That's where I don't have any much hopes, man. Where are you looking at in relation to this game? Because I know Arsenal Chelsea, apologies, have had quite the fixture schedule. You know, there's at the weekend, and the result looks even better because there was players rested. You know, Mason Mount, thanks Tuchel for messing up the FPL, left him at home. Yeah, he was kind of carrying it. He left him at home and whatnot. Now I'd imagine they're all back in on Wednesday, but again, you've got a couple games coming up. Is it an opportunity to rest players? Let's be honest, as much I don't want to admit it, you're not going to need much. You know, it'd be written in the stars a Giroud goal. I'm sure Tammy, I don't think Tammy would start, but maybe he could start. Yeah, even Werner probably get a goal. You know, who better to score against?
Listen, the team was rotated against City. No one really speaks about it because the City team was so heavily rotated, but there was no Havertz starting, no Chilwell, no Mason Mount, no Thiago Silva. So there's players in there, you know, that are not featuring as well. So yeah, you can again rotate against Arsenal, but you can still play Mason Mount, you can still play Chilwell, Kai Havertz. We've got a very deep squad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Chelsea have got a bloated squad. They've got a lot of depth. You know, even Giroud coming in, that's not an easy thing for your defenders to deal with. That's another situation there.
Physical threat.
Yeah, so
they didn't win the first and second balls first 10, 20 minutes against West Brom. You're not going to do it against Giroud. You can imagine the high line and the oversaturation of Chelsea midfielders in the middle of our park.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, there's players that can come back into that team. For us, from a Chelsea standpoint, it's very simple. Win the game and you've got top four sorted. So that's the mentality. It would be nice to have the Leicester game and the Aston Villa game. Not freebies, because of course you want to still end the season right, going for the final.
Maybe for some young G's in that.
But some
Gilmore again in that.
Yeah, no pressure. You know what I'm saying? You can start to test things, try things, and keep everyone fit and fresh, and not have to go gung ho, which is the ideal goal. So you just go to the Arsenal game, you just win. Simple as that. There's no excuses from a Chelsea point of view. Absolutely none for being this.
For me, it's just sounding like a broken record. It's like passion, heart, commitment. You know, it's Chelsea, Arsenal. It doesn't matter where, you know, I'm definitely saying this because we're ninth. It doesn't matter where either team is in the table. You know, it's a game of pride. How much pride is there on the line because your season's doing all right? Beyond just 24 hours of agendas and banter and that, it's not going to do much if we win. But again, I don't know where we go from here if we lose. I do know because we ain't done, you know, it's not going to mean anything in the grand scheme of it. But I just look at it, you know, second half, we got a bit of confidence. We're still feeling sorry for ourselves with the Thursday's game. And that's what annoys me. Of course, me as a fan, you know, I'm feeling sorry for myself every day about that. But reality is the harshest thing and the beautiful thing about life is it keeps going now. It's happened. Yeah. How are you going to move on? And that's where the mentality is there. It's like the young players have got it. And I don't know what we're going to do because I think Saka should be rested. But then again, rested for what? I think he has to go with it. Just hoping for a bit of pride, man. I'm just hoping if Chelsea are to win, like let it be a little 2-1. Don't let it be the cricket scores and the match of the day highlights and, you know, the Giroud storylines. Just be a bit of a problem. Like we said, you know, West Brom, all of these teams, some teams you've actually beat. They've made you think, boy, you know, we really had to work. A couple of times, Tuchel's probably gone in the dressing room and said, you won, but there's training tomorrow. You know, you lot were not certified. I don't want him to say, have the night off, this and that, go out on the town and all of that. I want to at least make a problem. You know, at least spoil Chelsea's sort of, you can't spoil it, but like spoil a little night in what's been going on. It's been too great for you lot, man. Yeah. Just spoil that.
Listen, we'll see. I question whether Arsenal have the mentality to do what West Brom did because West Brom were fighting for relegation. They knew they had to win that game to have a chance of staying up. They still went down. Arsenal are really playing for absolutely nothing. So again, what we question so often is just the mentality of this team from the seniors.
And do the double. You've been getting the double handed to us. We're not. That's what
I'm saying. We've got our team because we lost to you already.
That's it. Not even that.
We lost to you already. There's
Stamford Bridge. We don't travel well there. Yeah, I know last year we won 1-1 against you guys, and we made a big fun and game about Martinelli scoring and whatnot. But we don't travel well to Stamford Bridge. You know, long gone are the days of Carnu embarrassing you, man. There, we've been getting embarrassed there. You know,
100%.
I want to see a performance from us. There's, you know, the chance to do the double over Chelsea. That's been happening to you for years. We've been getting the double done over us over several teams this year. Again, it's Chelsea, Arsenal. It needs nothing, man. Before we wrap up, hey, where's this guy gone? I was going to ask for your predictions, but he's doing them as it always.
Hold on 1 second, just the camera.
I can't lie. So maybe Arsenal are onto you still. Yeah, man. What are you saying in relation to a prediction?
Predictions. I'll probably go with I think a 2-0 Chelsea win. I think that's what I'll go with. I think our defense has been so good. Outside the individual mistake from Christensen there and the penalty from Gilmore, I think they'll tidy that back up again now at home. And then just get a couple goals and make sure the game is won.
Boy, if I'm betting with my brain, 3-0, 4-0 Chelsea. Like I just see it. I see it as a bit like the Everton one. It's like I don't even think it's gonna be the greatest performance of Chelsea. I just think it's gonna be you man are gonna try really hard just to play football, and somehow we're gonna F it up. Like against Everton, we're just gonna hand you the points, and then I just feel you're good. It's gonna be a bit like Liverpool. Was it Liverpool at? Can't remember if it was Liverpool home and away, but I'm sure they beat us 3-0 and they didn't really do much for them 3 goals. I think that's it, people. I think it's a 3-0. If I'm going with my heart, I'm gonna say 2-1 Arsenal, man. I hope a little Martinelli, Saka just do something, a little scumbag goal from Aubameyang, shut some people up. But football is not for fantasies, man. It is what it is in that regards. I still think it's a problem. Who are you lot in action after? Are you lot in action?
Leicester in the FA Cup final on Saturday. Yeah,
that's why there's no action. So yeah, what are you saying for the final?
Confident. Leicester are not going to be easy, but for me, after what happened last season against you lot, we have to get that job done. Do you know what I'm saying? Leicester, they're starting to look a bit iffy for top 4 now. I personally had them in my prediction to finish 5th, with West Ham actually going into 4th. And I didn't expect them to lose to Newcastle, so that makes it even more sketchy for them with their fixtures coming up. That's why I want this game done, because then you go into the FA Cup final knowing that you're in the top 4, and Leicester, they've got to think about their next game as well. Now, listen, it's going to be difficult, but for me, you have to secure that trophy. Do
you rest players then? Because I completely forgot about the FA Cup weekend throughout the whole thing of this. Do you rest players then? Because obviously they've been playing 2 games a week.
I don't think you rest the players that rested against City, because you do want them still match fit. You wouldn't leave them now
from fluidity in the legs and that.
Yeah, from Madrid on Wednesday all the way to the following Saturday against Leicester. That's not necessary. So, Mount didn't play. He can come back into the team. Chilwell didn't play. He can come back into the team. Who else? Thiago Silva potentially could come back into the team as well. Kai Havertz. So there's options for players to come back in there, and you just rest some of the guys that played against City. Jorginho didn't rest again. He can come back into the team. Kova again is the only one that's out. So you've got the squad is definitely deep enough to cope and to get through this game as well.
100%. Before I let you get out of here, bro, have you seen? I don't know if this is true. I just typed it in on Google, but S is always in my live chats. I don't think he's wassing unless he's been duped. You see, Maddison Rumours apparently has fallen out with Rodgers and spat at him. Now, spitting me, I don't advocate violence, but if you spit at someone, it's long, innit? I think that's where someone should have a path to mash you up. Yeah, like really, that means you think someone is the lowest of the low. Not only is it disgusting.
If he spat at him, that's the end of their relationship. And Rodgers is bigger than Maddison at Leicester. Leicester have replaced bigger players than Maddison and kept it moving. So if that's true, then he's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't really come back from that. If you've got any respect for yourself, especially in the rest of the squad as well, you need to hold that. Do you know what I'm saying? Ferguson, if you're spitting at Ferguson, you may as well just find yourself released. Your contract is terminated. Rodgers has got a lot of credit at Leicester, so he needs to keep it. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to keep that credit that you built up. And do you know what I'm saying? You need to
spit, bro. What could he have, like, what could just for a man to spit? What could have been said there? Like,
God knows, but if you're Brendan Rodgers, you know the clout and the cred that you have at Leicester right now. You use it to the best of your ability, and you make sure he's not at the club next season. Simple as that. It's a very simple decision. They've got Telemans, they've got Ndidi, they've got other players in there, and
they'll get top dollar for him as well.
Yeah, get top dollar, and you recruit. You go again. They've lost bigger players. It's not a problem. He's gone. He's got to be gone.
Facts. You got any content to come?
Potentially today. Preview. I'm not sure. We've been talking to man them behind the scenes. Man won't reel off any names yet, but potentially, some Arsenal preview today. Definitely tomorrow, if not. And building up to the Arsenal game as per usual.
Tell them some times, bro. Tell them some times.
I ain't got no times yet. Do you know what I'm saying? You know them DMs where you're talking to these content creators.
Yeah.
So if there is something today, I haven't got a time yet, but all I can say to you is just follow me on YouTube or on any socials. And obviously when it's confirmed, I will definitely put it out there. So yeah, we're just waiting and see if the Mandem can get the time sorted, and then we'll run with it.
Fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, make sure you're subscribing to Matisse's thing. What are you touching 13k subs, man? Come, man. If 200 of you that are my thing, come, man. Go and make that hit 12 point. Go and make that hit 13k. You can see the man's putting in work. Look, hella things out there. You know, I had to mute the video because obviously it's gonna play, but he does his thing. Links in my description. Links obviously in the live chat. Obviously, in relation to me, I'm gonna be online at 4 p.m. Obviously, I'm gonna focus on Arsenal, Chelsea. I want to get out of the way because I don't really want to speak about it tomorrow. The less said about Arsenal, the better, really and truly, in that regards, people. So yeah, make sure you're taking in the Mandem's thing and that. Obviously, I'm gonna let Matisse get out of here, but obviously, well, we're both gonna get out of here. But a young word from the sponsors while we're doing our thing. Oh, this is why I need a technical man. So yeah, we're out of here, people. The links are in the descriptions. Hit up the thing, you know, and word from the sponsors. And yeah, man, it is what it is in that regards. Matisse, love for coming through, bro.
Much love, bro. Not a problem. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody in the chat for welcoming me as well. I really appreciate it, guys.
Come on, get your subscribers up. A message from the sponsors.